Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So time and time again, we have seen payment processors wield their power to control what type of content is hosted on various platforms and businesses. Now, it's been made very clear that these payment processors want to crack down on any artwork that features 18 plus content. And these restrictions that these companies are being forced into by these payment processors is getting stricter and stricter over time. Now, we've had several companies and platforms announce big changes over the past couple of days, so let's go through them. Beginning with Pixiv Fanbox. This is a very popular platform and a very popular way to pay Japanese artists in particular. They have announced, effective as of this video, that they will no longer support PayPal payments for 18 plus accounts. Now, there's a small caveat to this where basically they're saying that the affected users are people who have never used PayPal up until this point. So basically, if you're creating a new account or you've never used PayPal before, you will never have the option to use PayPal to compensate artists on Pixiv Fanbox. Now, that's a pretty big blow, and also a lot of people are expecting this PayPal restriction to expand beyond just this affected class. And in addition to that, it appears that when you're setting up a Pixiv premium account, it's not just PayPal. If you're outside of Japan, which there's a lot of people from outside of Japan who use this to support artists, you can't even use a credit card if an account has R18 content enabled. And this is something that a lot of people saw coming for a long time. Pixiv has been cracking down more and more on sexual content, and a lot of people have looked to alternative platforms to go to, including Gumroad, which unfortunately a few days ago announced that they're banning all suggestive art from their platform. That's right, everything. And here is their specifics on what they mean in that ban. So it says, the too long didn't read. In accordance with the policies of our payment processing partners, including Stripe and PayPal, we do not allow sales of the sexually explicit content. What is sexually explicit? Sexually explicit content is media that is created for the primary purpose of sexual gratification, fetish content, media with characters depicted in sexual situations, or content that is clearly produced for titillation. So besides the use of goofy words like that, it's very clear that this is pretty much affecting anything with sexual content. And they give some specific answers down here, some other examples of what this means. And besides some very specific ones, if you read the more general ones, it means everything, okay? And it includes things like lingerie videos and lewd cosplays. So it's not even full-on nudity. It's just anything with sexual nature to it will no longer be allowed on Gumroad. Now, here is another platform that is being affected by some new changes. As reported here, a PSA to all not safe for work creators on Patreon. You have to confirm consent in all of your not safe for work content. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. You might be wondering, how do you show consent between fictional characters that don't have sentience? Well, they try to explain in their updated rules. So it says this: it is paramount that adult/18 plus creators demonstrate consent in all works, real or animated, photo, video, written, audio, between adult participants or characters, specifically a freely given, specific, informed, and unambiguous indication of consent by a statement or by a clear affirmative action. So basically, you have to show somehow that they are directly consenting, these fictional characters included in your 18 plus work. It seems like you might have to actually add in dialogue to make the characters show that they're consenting to this sexual activity. And also they include this very confusing and open-ended statement about a clear affirmative action. Whatever that looks like, how do you describe that? Is it like a head nod? Is it a wink? What is it? And for a lot of artists, I mean, when you're doing like a two-dimensional art piece, a lot of them don't have dialogue in the first place. So how do you prove in one panel that what's happening is being consented to by both fictional characters? It's very, very confusing. But they go on to say, additionally, participants and characters must be able to give consent i.e., not be under the influence of alcohol, drugs, hypnosis, blackmail. Consensual non-consent works in which the participants or characters engage in simulated non-consensual encounters are not permitted. That means that fictional characters can't even roleplay this sort of non-consent behavior. This is crazy. We're talking about fictional content here. We can't even have the characters role-playing these scenarios, even if there are consenting parties involved. As long as it centers around the theme of non-consent, it's not going to be allowed in any works of fiction that are allowed on Patreon. Also, feel free to follow the artist who shared this news because they make very good art. But moving forward, I want to move on to another company being affected by these payment processors, and that is Cuddly Octopus. I'm using them as an example at the end of this video because the content that is being restricted is lolicon-related body pillows hosted on their website. Now, I talk about that because a lot of people have celebrated in the past when other platforms had to get rid of lolly-related content, like on Patreon, because of payment processors making those sorts of demands. Now, the problem is it's a slippery slope. People excuse and celebrate censorship of topics like that because they think it's weird or they're uncomfortable about it without seeing how this will lead into other categories, and this will keep climbing up the ladder in terms of seriousness and what type of things are being banned to the point where you end up like Gumroad, where all sexual content is banned entirely. So what is Cuddly Octopus? Like I said, it's a body pillow site where there's a lot of VTubers, literally hundreds of VTubers who use their services to sell body pillows. And on this website, the first time you visit, you are met with this warning that warns you that there's going to be adult content on their website. And if you want to, you can hide these 18 plus products by clicking a hide adult content button. So basically they're saying it's on you to curate your own experience. Here's what's going to happen, and here's how you can avoid adult content if you want to avoid it. So basically anyone getting mad when they show up on this website seeing adult content, it's their fault. They were warned properly and given the tools to avoid it. But also, like I said, hundreds of VTubers are on this website, including ya boy Rev, if you want to check out my docu, link in the description. But here is the bad news. As reported by this user, Cuddly Octopus is the next otaku merch shop that was hit by Western payment processors. Essentially, R18 versions of lolly dockies were removed, like Altina here. According to a Discord message by an official from Cuddly Octopus, 50 lolly dockies were completely removed. 300 dockies are safe for work only now. So let's see the actual statement from this official. It says, unfortunately, our payment processor recently requested the removal of explicit content of characters perceived as potentially underage. About 50 designs were hidden, about 300 had their not safe for work option removed. We're working to see what other potential avenues might be available to us to allow the sale of covers in that category in the near future, likely either by adopting a new payment processor or by adding content filters that you must opt into. For now, they can technically be checked out if they're on your wish list or through the mix and match program, though we're hoping to have some form of a solution in the not too distant future. So as you can tell, in this case, this is not something they wanted to do. This is something that they've been forced to do by their payment processors, and they're trying to find a amicable solution to this that will work out, where they can keep the payment processors and keep this content and also give people the same warnings that they've been given. So if they don't want to see the stuff, they can avoid it in the first place. So as with other situations where content is banned or censored in some sort of a way, there's always people who are going to celebrate it because it's censoring something they personally don't like. And here's an example of a VTuber doing just that with a very short-sighted view of this entire situation. So one user says, glad it's lolly at least, in quotes. Yeah, totally won't end up like Patreon, where you gotta show explicit consent for not safe for work art. Or Gumroad, where they banned not safe for work entirely, where the VTuber responds saying, I always feel that while a company can make a decent decision on one hand, eradicating not safe for work lolly everything, they can make failure decisions on the other. We'll all see what happens in the end. I'm good on this conversation as my point has been made here. Where another user says, I won't tell you what to like or dislike. However, I detest this "I'm glad that at least something I don't like was censored or banned," eventually they will go after things you like. Censor or ban content you enjoy. Where the VTuber responds saying, "In the event something I like is banned, I'll work on it with like-minded individuals and fight the food fight if necessary." That being said, lolly not safe for work is definitely something I would eradicate immediately. Yes, and then this user says, "Hi, just passing by, but, well, as long as it doesn't happen to me, I don't care," is what I'm reading here. Where they would go on further, the VTuber saying, "I feel like the underage look to the model is the larger part of this particular situation and less about the fact that it's explicit content, no?" Which is obviously a very weird, basically a standard here where this payment processor, whoever these people are deciding if something is a child or not based on how it looks on a body pillow, which is really a crazy thing to think is a good idea to allow payment processors to be the judge and jury on that. But this user would reply saying, "The issue is that external companies like credit card ones forcefully push against fictional content they deem problematic despite being perfectly legal, in this case, Lolly-Doc and Makura, which they deem underage." With a VTuber response saying, "I suppose all I can say about the issue is if payment processing companies must push against not safe for work content, I'm glad it's not safe for work lolly at least." Yep, the classic slippery slope. If they're banning something I don't like, it's fine, and I don't care, and will pretend to be shocked when they come after things that I like eventually. Now, if this scenario of a VTuber attacking this company sounds familiar, well, it's because it is. Because about 2 years ago, I made this video talking about a agency VTuber who imploded their career in the span of 24 hours, where it started with a tweet attacking Cuddly Octopus, and in a later tweet, they would directly call out this company for selling what they believe was literal CP, where they would also request to have their body pillow removed from the site. Yes, they had a body pillow on the site to begin with, where the base team over at Cuddly Octopus ignored the wild and baseless accusations and simply removed this VTuber's body pillow. But of course, this was a your likes are public moment where I shared some of their likes where they support lolicons. They also have underage characters like Marin Kitagawa sexualized in their likes. You've seen it a million times, haven't you? Well, of course, the next day I would make an update video where I shared the fact that her agency announced her graduation. She was graduated in 24 hours after calling out that company. So yeah, it's not a very good idea to virtue signal about Cuddly Octopus and to accuse them of some pretty slanderous things. But of course, it seems like Cuddly Octopus is doing their best to work through this situation. Here's an official email to one user saying, "Yes, it seems credit card companies are cracking down on any websites where lollies are posted. Many websites are removing lollies or adult content altogether. They still will be drawn, just not listed." Now, moving on, a lot of people are getting affected by these payment processors and their decisions and the pressure they're putting on these platforms. You even have tweets like this with 10,000 likes, basically insinuating that they're going to be trying to take legal action and possibly a class action lawsuit against these payment processors for the damage and the money that people are losing as a result of the pressure they're putting on these platforms. It's very serious stuff. Now, to end this video, we're going to talk about a different platform. This time it has nothing to do with payment processors, but it has to do with the really terrible status quo that artists are facing right now, where various platforms are either banning specific content or they're showing that they don't really care about real artists. And that has to do with DeviantArt. So DeviantArt came out with this absolute stinker the other day saying, "Meet one of our top sellers. Maiko no Tai sold over 12,000 on DeviantArt last year." Now, before we look into these specifics, the fact that that is the earnings of one of your top sellers is not exactly a big flex for a company like DeviantArt. But anyways, as the note will suggest, this community note, it says, "The artist uses generative images to create art in bulk. They are an artist that uses AI." And you can see their account right here. This is the person. They created their Twitter only a year and a half ago, around the same time they created their DeviantArt account, and it's very obviously AI driven. And as people have pointed that out on the original tweet from DeviantArt, they have been hiding any reply that is criticizing their tweet and the artist that they are promoting. And of course, you see some quotes like this absolutely dunking on them, saying, DeviantArt bragging over how much AI garbage one of their users has sold. They have almost 3,000 images on their account in just over a year. Just like ArtStation, DeviantArt has completely turned their back on artists. Enjoy your class action, sue DeviantArt, you're dead to me. And here's another one saying, at DeviantArt, you follow me so I know you'll see this. You used to be a platform for artists to share their creations. Now you are leading the way towards a future where artists won't have a career because thieves stole our work and trained a machine to replace us. Humans can't. And here's the thing, okay? AI is going to be something you can't ignore. It's going to leak into every avenue on the internet, every platform. It's just inevitable. But at the same time, as a company like DeviantArt, you don't have to take one of these people exploiting AI for their own financial gain and use them as the poster child of your art service. That is absolutely tone deaf and stupid, and it really discourages artists, just like this entire video has been filled with these updates that have to be incredibly discouraging to artists, where basically anything with sexual content is likely going to end up getting demonetized or going to be in a situation where there's no way to make transactions based on it. And also you have AI art flooding these platforms and being monetized and promoted over real art. It's a very tough situation, so, I feel bad for the artists out there because it seems like it's only getting worse over time. But as always, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please share all of your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.